Hey pilots, welcome back to Motion RC. Today we have the L-15 from Freewing. This is the newest 64mm release from here at Freewing. And one cool thing about this model is this is available in 4S or 6S now. There is a little bit of difference in what's going to come in this airplane's kit as far as which version you get. We're going to go over that today. So down here on the table is the airplane. We're going to get it out of the box now, show you some of the stuff that comes in it, and then go over the features of this model. Tech specs for the standard 4S version of the L-15. It has 8 9-gram digital plastic gear servos, a 2840, 2850 kV outrunner motor. It's got a 12-blade 64mm ducted fan. This model uses a 40-amp brushless thrust reversing ESC. The model can fly on a LiPo battery from 4S 1800 milliamp to 2600 milliamp. And the 4S version comes with fixed plastic cladded landing gear. For customers that opt to go with the 6S version, the motor is a 2949 2300 kV outrunner motor. It also has a 12-bladed 64mm ducted fan. But this model uses a 50-amp brushless ESC, and it comes with aluminum suspension landing gear. They are still fixed, but can be taken on and off and hand launch the model. All right, pilots, now it's time to actually start putting our little L-15 together. What you're gonna see is this has full flying stabs back here on the aft section of the model. The way this is going to work is we're going to take our elevator halves, slide them on, just like so. Now, we need the model upside down for this. If you have an ERNT stand or any of the other stands available here at Motion RC, it's going to make your life a lot easier, so definitely check those out if you haven't already got one. What we need to do is flip the model over now, and from the bottom you can see that there are 2 screw holes where we're going to be fixing our screws in. You need to use the 2 screws that are different in the kit than any of the other ones. As you can see, these are machine threaded screws, whereas the other ones are going to be the more coarse threads. They do use a 2mm Allen key. If you don't already have one, the Benchcraft screwdriver with the multi-tool is fantastic for doing this little model parts. But here we go. I need to just take and put that in. You're going to see there's a channel that you need to line this up with, and that screw will go down into the channel. You want to tighten it up until you feel it stop right there, and it's a little tight because that screw is touching the channel. We're going to back it off about half a turn, and that's going to let that nice and free turn. We can give it a little tug to make sure that's nice and tight, and it is. Now, when I do this other side, here you go, just so you can see that channel really well here. There's our little channel right there on the model. Once again, slide that in just like that. Grab our other machine screw, and we're going to do the same thing. All right, now that we have our elevator halves installed, it is time to get our rudder installed. what you'll see when you look down on the top of the aircraft is you've got your ESC wires coming up. Just make sure those are all the way down, so when you put your rudder half in, they don't keep your rudder from sliding all the way down. Then you have your plug right here for your rudder. Grab your rudder half, ta-da, and we're going to plug in yellow to yellow, brown to brown, push them in until you see the little locks clip around the end of the servo. As you can see, now I've got it all the way locked in. We're going to take that, make sure it goes down into the little channel right here, and everything fits. Then just gently push in. You shouldn't need any type of real force to get that to seat. As you can see, it just kind of slides down in there. This is made to unscrew and screw back on to where you can do repairs to this later. Now take one of your coarsely threaded screws, as you can see here, and we're going to put 4 of these in our tail. Line it up. Being careful not to dent the foam with our screwdriver as we install this. You're right there on the edge of it. And that gets the rudder installed on the aircraft. Now that we have our rudder and our elevator installed, it is time to get the wings actually put onto the model. The cool thing you'll see is the spars are actually built into the wings. And so all you gotta do is slide them in. There's also a multi-function control board, which is really cool to see on one of our 64mm offerings. As you can see, it's that little board right there. And your connectors come right out of the side of the fuselage to where we can plug those right in. So let's grab our wings. We're going to start them into that little hole right there. Then we're going to reach in with our multi-function control board, plug it in. Just like so. And then slide our wing half in. Let's go on and get the other side on too. Like so. Now, using our 2mm Allen screws again, and this time we're using the coarse through screws. We're going to get all 4 installed into the wings. Down until they stop. Don't over tighten them. These are into a plastic receiving point, so we don't want to strip them out. Next thing we can do is just clip on our little nose cone. It is magnetic, as you can see here, magnets. You also have plastic cladding on the front to keep this protected. We're going to line that up and key her in. Beauty. All right, at this point, it's time to fire the L-15 up. So we need to install our favorite receiver into the model. You need about a 6-channel receiver to get everything out of this. Thrust reversing, gyro selector, ailerons, elevator, rudder, that's 5. Most companies don't sell a 5-channel receiver though, so go on and get you a 6. Anyway, if you see inside the aircraft, you can see that new Freewing gyro installed right out of the box. So this is going to come with your gyro right out of the box. It does have a gyro selection. You just add into a port, which we will be assigning shortly to ours. So right now what I'm going to do is get my receiver installed, bound up the airplane, and we will meet back in just a moment. All right guys, so I got my receiver installed in the aircraft. I made a mistake on the last part when I said you needed a 6-channel. You'll need 7 channels total to take advantage all of functions in this aircraft. I forgot that there is that new gyro installed. So if you want to be able to use thrust reverse, you will need 7 channels. But right now I have a 6-channel installed in the aircraft, and I plugged my gyro mode switch into the normal gear channel. Remember, there are no retractable landing gear, so I'm going to use that channel for my mode select. Now that I've done that, all I have to do on my radio is assign it to any 3-position switch. I put mine up here on the top corner. And the way this works is in mode 1, as it is right now, the light will be completely off. That is gyro off, non-stabilizing, non-self-leveling. When I flip to the middle position, the gyro light turns green. This tells me that it is in stabilization. So as I wiggle the airplane, you can hear the ailerons moving and the elevators moving, and it's trying to stabilize. Then when I flip it into the 3rd position, the gyro turns blue, and now it is trying to self-level. As you can see, if I bank it, my ailerons are trying to bring the plane back to center. The elevators are also trying to bring it back, so it will always be self-leveling in this mode, which is cool. A lot of customers really wanted that feature. And that's all there is to it. The gyro actually comes pre-programmed right out of the box for you, so as long as you plug that into any open channel and assign it to a 3-position switch, so -100 for the first value, 0, and +100, you will get all 3 functions of the gyro right out of the box as it is. Now that we have everything installed and the model powered up, we can flip it over, and it is time to install our elevator halves. Control rods. All right, so we're gonna put our linkages on for our elevators now. If we come over here to the side, measuring down from the servo arm to the tip, we want it to be right at 7 millimeters. So as you can see here, if we hold our ruler here, we need to measure down from that moment arm to 7 millimeters. Now my yardstick's a little broken off here, so I always just come up to the next mark to make it a clean. So I go to my 1 inch and then come down 7 millimeters. And I've made a mark right there. Now I know where my center point is for my elevator half. And I've done this on both sides. So there's that little black mark that I just made, and now I know exactly where to set my elevator neutral point. So going off the instruction book, we're going to use the outside hole on the horn. Rotate that over, and now we want to see that lined up with our little dot. It's a little bit too short, so we're going to turn it in and get it lined up. Let's see how that looks now. Ooh, I went the wrong way completely. Gotta go out. Let's go out a little ways. And the aircraft is on right now in the flight stand. And the reason we have it on is so that the servo is centered. Now, make sure you have a throttle cut on during this so it don't fly across the table. All right, so now we need to go back in just a little bit. We're gonna go 1, 2, see how that looks. Right on the money. And snap it in, there we go. Control check. There we go. Now we need to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Perfect. The next thing we want to just double check is that they're actually both parallel to each other. If you have one up and one down, it's going to cause a roll in the aircraft. And as you can see, they're both perfectly neutral right now, and we can test them. Everything's working great. While we're back here, let's go on and check our ailerons, and they are working, and our flaps. All working. Perfect. All right, so now that we have the model all hooked up and our control surfaces working correct, it's time to install our landing gear. Now, depending on what version of the L-15 you get, you're gonna have a little bit different landing gear. Now today I'm putting together the 4S version of the aircraft, and to show you, the 4S version comes with these nice plastic, very well detailed landing gear. They have a metal rod in them to keep them nice and strong. Here's the nose wheel. And these are the ones that are going with this 4S one. Now for customers that get the 6S version, it comes with aluminum suspension landing gear. These still just screw into the same way, but now you have suspension on the model, trailing links. So a lot of guys that are flying off of grass, this is gonna be the ones you're gonna want. But these are gonna be optional upgrades for guys that have the 4S version. You can still buy these, but remember, out of the box, it's gonna come with the plastic ones. So to install them, it's very simple. We're just gonna take and key them in onto the side of the aircraft, just like that. Then there's this little door, which is going to push in and snap, just like that. And that's what actually holds your wheel in. Let's get the other side. So we push it in, just like so. Take our little door, line it up, push in, and we'll hear the snap, just like that. For our nose wheel, it's as simple as taking it, sliding it in, then grabbing our grub screw that is provided separately. So there is our little grub screw that's going to hold that nose wheel in. As you can see, it already comes with Loctite pre-applied to it. So now we're going to jump over here on the side of the aircraft and add that piece in. We're going to tighten it down until it hits the flat of this landing gear, and that will affix it to the model. There you go. A very nice scale looking landing gear, as you can see. All right, now that we have our landing gear on, let's get our peripherals installed onto the aircraft. You have 4 missiles total, and they use the standard style installation that we're used to on here, where it's got the little clip-on pieces just like that. They just clip in and slide, so if you want to fly with them, you can. If you want them off of the aircraft, you can simply slide them off and remove them. All right, at this point, it's time to put the peripherals on the airplane. You have 2 little blue pieces that are going to go up on the tail, and one that's going back here on the back of the fuselage. These do need to be glued in. Take your provided tube of glue, put a little bit of glue around the outside of that, like so, and install it on the model's back. So back here on the top of the rudder, you'll see there's 2 cutouts on each side. We're going to take these little blue pieces, test fit them first. They go in just like that. After we know they're good, add a little bit of glue to them and key them into the model. And get the other side. The stringies off so I don't run them all over the airplane, and key it in just like so. Look down it from the front and make sure they're both straight. Nice. All right. All right, at this point we have the L-15 all assembled. If you're curious about rates and your transmitter settings, they can be found on page 9 of your manual. It gives you all of your rates and deflections right there. It's just a high and a low and not a mid. I always make one that's in between all of these rates that are in the manual, because I have 3 position switch, as most of our customers do also. It is just an absolutely beautiful little model for a 64mm. It is definitely punching a little bit above its weight and its class. The aluminum suspension landing gear on the 6S version is absolutely beautiful, and like most of our bigger models. And the aircraft is actually more of a size of like a 70mm aircraft when you actually see it in person. The color scheme is very striking on this airplane too. As you can see, the model is beautiful with that baby blue on the bottom and that dark blue on the top. Paint job is absolutely fantastic on this version. Really cool airplane that I had never seen before this one come out. I've never really been into Chinese aircraft, but pretty cool to see this one modeled. It's just something that's not done very often, and especially not in the Freewing lineup. So as you can see, this airplane is gonna be awesome, and I can't wait till some of our customers start getting this in their hands. So as always, guys, whether it's land, sea, or air, Motion RC has everything you want. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.